Every year on the Duanwu festival, the villagers of Beishan poured out onto the streets like they were attending a grand fair. Every single year, without fail, the Hu family would bring home a new bride for their eldest son, who had long passed away. The Hu family was famously the richest in Lang region, and every wedding feast they hosted was an elaborate vegetarian banquet, open to all. Anyone could come and eat their fill, and upon leaving, each guest received silver coins in hand. In recent years, droughts had brought poor harvests and hardship. Who wouldn't jump at the chance to eat until full and leave with money? More than 10 years had passed like this. Gradually, it became a village tradition. People even traveled from distant provinces just to join the festivities. The cost to the Hu family was enormous. In the distance, the bridal palanquin slowly approached. Wherever it went, the deafening sounds of drums and horns followed, stirring up a clamor across the sky. The bride sat upright inside, dressed entirely in white funeral robes. Her face was completely covered by a veil, so no one could see her features, but everyone silently understood. Anyone chosen as a bride for the Hu family must surely be beautiful. How pitiful, the fate of a beautiful woman. Who in their right mind would want to marry a dead man? The palanquin has arrived. The familiar voice snapped Lieu Shi out of her wandering thoughts. The matchmaker presiding over today's ceremony was none other than her own birth mother, the very woman heartless enough to sell her daughter into marriage with the dead. Lower the palanquin. As soon as Lieu Shi was helped down, the matchmaker immediately splashed holy water onto her body. This holy water had a pungent, acrid smell, one Lieu Shi knew well. It was urine from a young boy, used to help the bride resist the invasion of Een energy when bowing before an undead groom. Invite the elder madam into the house. Lieu Shi remembered what the matchmaker had told her last night and stepped forward herself. Before her stood 2 doorways. She recalled her mother's instructions and prepared to step through the right-hand threshold, when suddenly, a slap struck her head hard. Still dazed, not knowing what had happened, she heard a sharp, scolding voice. Terrible luck. How disrespectful. Who gave you permission to enter through the main gate? The force of the woman's slap was so strong that her veil fell to the ground. The surrounding villagers now saw the bride's face clearly. An oval-shaped beauty, phoenix eyes so striking that someone couldn't help exclaiming, "Oh my, how beautiful! Whose daughter is this? If I could marry a wife this lovely, I'd die happy." Lieu Shi had no heart to listen to compliments. She wiped blood from the corner of her lip, confused and wronged. "How dare you glare at me? Who allowed you to use the main gate? You should consider it a 3-lifetime blessing to even walk through the small door." Only then did Lieu Shi notice the 2 doors before her. The right-hand door, where she had intended to step, was decorated with red silk and brocade with a red Shi character pasted above it. In stark contrast, the left-hand door was draped entirely in white mourning cloth. "This is the door meant for you." I'm sorry, mother. Please forgive your daughter." Lieu Shi bowed her head. The noble woman standing before her needed no introduction. She was her mother-in-law, the matriarch of the Hu family. Seeing the crowd whispering, Madam Hu didn't wish to make further scene, but coldly sneered. "From now on, since you're a daughter of the Hu family, you must follow the Hu family's rules. Live as a Hu, die as a Hu ghost. I truly have no fortune. What bad karma made me end up with a daughter-in-law like you? None of the 9 brides before you were so ignorant of etiquette. If the palanquin hadn't already been lowered, and out of respect for you being the matchmaker's daughter, I'd have ordered men with sticks to drive you out." Lieu Shi didn't know how to respond. She could only say, "Yes, mother." She felt Madam Hu's gaze piercing her like daggers, too frightened to lift her head, forced to stand there with eyes lowered. At that moment, another red-colored bridal palanquin stopped before the mansion. Madam Hu smiled warmly and stepped forward to greet the second bride stepping down. She took her hand affectionately and said, "Your family now, Hiji, don't be formal. Were you tired on the journey, child?" The girl named Hiji replied, "Yes, from now on I'll follow all your teachings, mother." Madam Hu nodded in satisfaction. "That's more like it. No wonder you're the daughter-in-law I personally chose. And you, why are you still lingering? Hurry into the house. Don't delay the auspicious time for third young master and Hiji's ceremony." Folk belief held that if a family had 2 sons and the elder died unmarried, they must wed a living wife to his soul, a ritual called Yong Sun 11, marrying for the dead. If not, the young ghost's unrest would drag others in the family down to the underworld. Madam Mai once said all 9 previous brides had met misfortune before completing the bowing ritual. One drowned crossing a river, another reached the door safely only to be bitten to death by a venomous snake. The 5th day of the 5th lunar month, the Duanwu festival, was known as a time when poisonous creatures and dark energies thrived. Why, then, would Madame who deliberately choose such a day to welcome a bride into a household already burdened by a heavy spirit? Once, Madame who stubbornly tried to wed her younger son. During the ceremony, the incense on the ancestral altar burst into flames. The bride spat blood, choked, and collapsed dead. The bride's family had power in the province. They caused a huge scandal, giving Madame who a terrible headache for months. So this time, she learned from past mistakes. She invited a Taoist priest to summon the eldest son's soul and ask his will. She thought her younger son would never marry, but astonishingly, after reviewing Lieu Shi's BAZ birth chart, the deceased son approved. Lieu Shi murmured her agreement and stepped forward. The moment her foot crossed the threshold, a cold gust of wind swept over her, making her shiver. She felt as though she was entering a world beyond the human realm. Suddenly, a voice echoed in her mind. Don't step through." The voice startled her. She almost pulled back, just as Madame Mai moved close to her unnoticed. To outsiders, it looked like she was supporting her daughter, but in truth, she pinched Lieu Shi's waist and shoved her across the threshold. Tears welled in Lieu Shi's eyes, painful and humiliated. Why would her own mother treat her like this? "Cross this door," Madame Mai whispered, "and from this moment, you belong to the Hu family. Our bond as mother and daughter ends here. If you wish to live in peace, remember my warning." Lieu Shi saw her mother's face, cold, emotionless. All the heartfelt pleas and cries she'd made long ago had fallen on deaf ears. She bit her lips and answered, "Your daughter takes her leave from this day forward. Please take care of yourself, mother." With that, she forced herself to walk deeper inside. Though she knew the path ahead led to an abyss, what choice did she have? Parents decide, children obey. Her mother had decided. She could only submit. Seeing both brides had entered, the steward took 3 pre-lit incense sticks and stuck them into a bowl of white rice placed at the doorway, muttering something under his breath, too softly for Lieu Shi to hear. Within moments, 2 of the sticks burned down nearly to the end, while the third remained almost untouched. Lieu Shi's heart pounded. She had heard that unequal incense burning, 2 long, 1 short, was the worst omen, foretelling disaster. At that moment, the steward spoke loudly. "The brides have entered. Guests, please enjoy the feast." The villagers, hungry from waiting half the day, rushed in like starving tigers. Just as some were about to enter the white door, the steward stepped forward to block them, smiling mysteriously. "The white door is for the dead. The red door is for the living. Do not enter the wrong one, or you may end up sharing a table with the departed." Though warned, greedy guests still entered the white door to grab food to take home, grumbling. "The dead can't eat anyway. Better to give it to the living like us." Having said his piece, the steward merely smiled enigmatically and walked into the grand hall to prepare for the upcoming bowing ceremony. Lieu Shi was led into the main hall by a servant girl named Chan, who had just turned 13. The girl said she would from now on be in charge of Lieu Shi's meals, sleep, and daily needs within the mansion. Madame, who was already seated at the center of the hall, and only now did Lieu Shi have time to carefully observe her mother-in-law's appearance. Though over 50 years old, she looked no different than a woman in her 30s, her face rosy, her phoenix eyes cold and stern, gazing down as if from above. "Tai, have you woken up young master?" Tai respectfully replied. "Madam, young master still refuses to wake up." No sooner had Tai finished speaking than a rustling sound came from somewhere. Lieu Shi raised her eyes toward the source of the noise and saw, to the left of the room, a large rosewood couch placed there, completely surrounded by white silk curtains. She strained to see what lay inside and spotted a red paper effigy hanging suspended in midair, its empty sleeves swaying back and forth as if beckoning her. Lieu Shi startled so badly she nearly fell backward. "Oh my, he's changed clothes, madam. I've served young master since childhood, but this is the first time he's worn red during a wedding," Tai exclaimed, turning to flatter Madame Hu. Hearing this, Madame Hu seemed pleased, and her voice softened slightly. "It seems the boy likes her already." Seeing Lieu Shi looking at her, little Chan whispered in explanation. "In all previous weddings, young master only wore white. Only today has he agreed to wear red. That means he approves of you." Hearing that the groom approved, Lieu Shi felt a small comfort. She thought to herself that as long as she served him well and obeyed Madame Hu, life in this household might not be too difficult. At least it would be better than the time she spent with her own mother, when every day her mother forced her to arrange ghost marriages. Mainly for poor girls aged 13 or 14, sold by their families to settle debts and become brides for wealthy households. Lieu Shi no longer wanted to do things that went against her conscience. "Son, it's the auspicious hour. Come out and perform the wedding rites with your wife. Don't be late." No sooner had Madame who spoken than a gust of wind blew from nowhere, pushing the curtains aside. The paper effigy flew out. It fluttered gently, circling once around the hall before landing on Lieu Shi's left shoulder. Lieu Shi felt a chilling breath brush past her ear, a bone-deep cold, as if rising from the 18th level of hell. She didn't even dare breathe heavily. "Begin," Madame who commanded. The steward held a thick bundle of incense before Lieu Shi. The thick smoke surged straight into her nose, making it hard to breathe. Then he inserted one stick into the burner and shouted loudly, "Heaven hear me, earth hear me. Today, the 15th day of the 5th lunar month, Year Jia Su, I, Ding Hui, invite the ancestral spirits and all ghost deities to gather here and witness the marriage of our eldest young master." Then he growled fiercely, inserting 7 more incense sticks into 7 different burners, muttering some kind of spell that Lieu Shi couldn't make out. She noticed the paper effigy on her shoulder growing colder and colder, until her left shoulder went numb. Following her mother's instructions, she hadn't eaten anything since last night. Her stomach now growled with hunger, yet she had to stand motionless. She didn't know how much time had passed. Her ears had begun to ring. "AAA. Blood. The mistress's shoulder is bleeding too much." Chan's scream drew everyone's eyes to Lieu Shi. Only then did she notice that blood was spreading across her left shoulder, but strangely, she felt no pain at all. Could this be the young master's blood? "You withdraw," the steward suddenly roared, then spat out a mouthful of blood. At once, the paper effigy on Lieu Shi's shoulder lost weight and dropped lifelessly to the ground. "She's having her period." Before Lieu Shi could even respond, she received another thunderous slap from Madame who raged at her. "You want to kill my son, don't you?" As she shouted, she yanked Lieu Shi's hairbun loose. Her long, smooth, jet-black hair tumbled down like velvet. "You bitch. I should never have let you step foot in this house. I warned them again and again. No women on their period must ever enter during a ghost wedding. Are you and your mother trying to deceive me? Tai, beat her to death for me. Use the rattan whip and strike hard. How dare you let my son suck the impure blood from her body? Madam, please forgive her. I told you to beat her, do it. Who runs this house, you or me?" Heavy rattan lashes rained down on Lieu Shi's body. Wronged and helpless, she sobbed bitterly. That morning, before the wedding procession, she had asked her mother whether it would be a problem if she was on her period. Madame Mai had said there was no issue, just obediently become a daughter-in-law of the Hu family. Fortunately, though Tai didn't dare hold back entirely, he also didn't dare strike Lieu Shi directly in the face. She was the young master's wife after all, so beautiful. If she bore scars later, the young master would punish him severely. Lieu Shi trembled violently, her entire body covered in blood. Ghosts and demons are pure Yin beings. During menstruation, women are weak and filled with Yin energy, making them extremely vulnerable to unclean, unlucky entities. Most likely, young master found her unclean and angrily left. The steward finally managed to say, panting heavily after regaining some strength. "This isn't good. Hurry, go check the brothel." Muttering as he counted on his fingers, the old man rushed quickly out the door. Madame who followed in panic. "You, go get a wooden plank and carry her back to her room. Remember to bathe her clean. Don't let any impurity enter young master's chamber." Beaten and excruciatingly sore, Lieu Shi collapsed on the ground, unable to rise. She was helped onto a wooden plank by little Chan. Though the mansion had palanquins, they used a pig-carrying plank to transport the bride. This alone showed how little status a ghost wife held in this household. The servants and retainers openly scorned Lieu Shi. She had no strength to argue with them, lying sideways to keep her wounded back from touching the rough wood. As they passed the place where the banquet had been held earlier, the feast was already over. She couldn't believe how fast time had flown. What had been bustling in the morning was now desolate and empty. A group of people carrying something hurried past. Lieu Shi opened her eyes wide and looked closely. Those were the very villagers from earlier. They were already dead. Since childhood, Lieu Shi had been blessed with an exceptionally sharp sense of smell. As the group passed, she caught the stench of death, the unmistakable odor of corpses. Suddenly, she remembered hearing tales before. The Hu family had a rule. Anyone who stepped through that door, if they died, must leave their corpse behind. If alive, they could take gold home. Though fearful, many still risked it due to years of crop failure and food shortages. Some families of the deceased had even taken the case to officials, but it was useless. They only ended up beaten. Rumor had it the Hu family cultivated witchcraft, soaking the dead bodies in venomous snake wine for 49 days. 7 times 7. The venom of the king cobra not only preserved the corpses from rotting, but also trapped the lingering souls of the living, which the witchcraft would devour, consuming both flesh and spirit to increase its power. In this way, the Hu family maintained eternal wealth and prosperity. These were only rumors. No one could prove them true. But one thing remained clear. The Hu family stayed immensely rich, their fortune cracking open even the strongest walls. The Hu family mansion was divided into many small courtyards, each with 4 rooms. The largest room in the center was reserved for elders or the young masters. The right room beside the main hall was for the first wife, the left for the second wife, and the furthest rooms housed the servants together. The courtyard of the eldest young master was located in the south, known as the Nam Courtyard, named after the young master himself, Hu Nam. Along the path, countless eyes stared at Lieu Shi with disdain, pity, or whispered gossip. The Hu household employed nearly 100 servants. With so many people came endless rumors. Within the mansion, even the smallest incident spread like wildfire. Lieu Shi had not won Madame Hu's favor, so the servants showed her no respect. Some even spoke loudly just to be heard. Humph, all she has is looks. Shi quietly. After all, she is the bride officially married to young master. The girl sneered. Call it whatever you want, but she's just a girl sold to the mansion to appease the dead. And now she dares to act proud? Let's see how long she lasts. Lieu Shi grew more distressed the longer she listened, but kept silent. She knew arguing would only worsen her plight. She sighed, heart heavy with sorrow. At 18, she had already become the wife of a corpse, unsure when he would drag her down with him. The bearers placed Lieu Shi at the entrance of the Nam courtyard, feigning politeness. Apologies, madam. We can't carry you into the room. We're only following madam's orders. Don't be so cruel to her. Chan protested, cheeks puffed in anger. Lieu Shi quickly stopped her, whispering, Let them be. Prepare warm water for me, will you? Seeing Lieu Shi's pale face from blood loss, Chan panicked. Let me help you into your room. Don't catch a chill. Lieu Shi leaned on Chan's arm, dragging herself forward with difficulty. Her back wounds tore wider with every movement, her flesh clinging to the fabric. Each step felt like death. Walk slower, madam, or you'll hurt more. Thank you. For the first time in years, someone showed her kindness. Lieu Shi felt a lump in her throat, vowing to treat the girl well in the future. Chan wanted to fetch a doctor, but Lieu Shi stopped her. She knew Madame Hu would never allow it. Even being carried on a plank was a deliberate humiliation. Luckily, Chan had found some blood-stopping herbs and clean cloth to bandage her wounds. About 2 hours later, Lieu Shi had been carefully bandaged and eaten a bowl of plain rice porridge, easing her exhaustion. A servant arrived to inform her that Madame Hu was busy preparing the third young master's wedding and ordered Lieu Shi to stay in her room until further notice. Lieu Shi felt relieved. She had heard that noble families like the Hus had strict rules. She feared making mistakes and suffering another beating. She decided to ask Chan to teach her the proper etiquette. She would live here forever, after all, and must earn Madame Hu's favor to survive. Whether from homesickness or the cold, Lieu Shi felt increasingly chilled as night fell. Strange, it's already May, but why is there still fog? Chan closed the door. Rest early, madam. I'll stay outside to watch over you. Call me if anything happens. After Chan left, Lieu Shi dared not lie on her back for fear of reopening her wounds. She lay on her side, watching the candlelight flicker near its end. The flame swayed like her fragile fate, decided by others. Slowly, Lieu Shi drifted into uneasy sleep. Sister Shi, wake up and play with me. Come on, wake up. I'll take you to a fun place. Lieu Shi heard a child's voice calling her, pleading. She replied, Here I am. Where are we going? She sat up. Before her stood a boy about 5 or 6 years old, holding her hand. Come with me, sister. I'm lonely playing alone. Her body moved on its own. She got up, put on shoes, and followed him. The door was already wide open, but Chan was nowhere in sight. Lieu Shi was still wondering when the boy vanished. She called out, Wait, slow down. I can't keep up. I'm right here, sister. Lieu Shi hurried toward his voice. She didn't know where he led her, but it took a long time to arrive. The house before her was even larger than the main hall of the Hu mansion earlier. Before Lieu Shi could think, the boy pulled her hand, smiling. Come inside, sister. This is my home. It's huge. Is this your home? Where are your parents? Why are you alone so late? Just come in. Lieu Shi stepped inside and saw a massive table filled with elaborate dishes, foods she had never tasted. Have you eaten, sister? Sit and eat with me. The boy handed her a large piece of meat. Eat more, sister. You're too thin, it won't taste good otherwise. Though uneasy, Lieu Shi obeyed the boy's words. She picked up the bowl, took the meat, and raised it to her mouth. Suddenly, a foul stench hit her nose. Lieu Shi dropped the chopsticks and vomited violently. The smell was unbearable, like decaying corpses soaked in rot for years. How dare you throw away my food? Before she could recover, the boy screamed. Lieu Shi looked up. His face was pale, his lips blood-red, eyes jet-black and glaring. He roared, "You must repay me for the food." No sooner had he spoken than he lunged at Lieu Shi like a starving tiger. The food on the table, once fresh, instantly turned into a rotting corpse. Lieu Shi dodged, screaming, "Help! Someone save me!" She threw the bowl at the boy and fled toward the door. Lieu Shi ran recklessly, barely noticing where she stepped, until she looked back. The boy was gone. Instead, a corpse slowly rose, arms outstretched, hopping toward her. Jiangshi, Jiangshi. Only now did Lieu Shi realize she stood among a crowd of dead bodies. The Jiangshi howled, and the corpses around it writhed, crawling to life. Lieu Shi collapsed, exhausted and terrified. She feared that if bitten, she would become like them, trapped in death, never to rest. She threw her shoes at the creatures, screaming, "Demons, be gone!" But her actions only enraged the Jiangshi. They hopped faster toward her. Lieu Shi feared death was near, when a voice rang out. Heaven above, earth below, yin and yang, 5 phases. Heaven and earth, yin and yang, 5 phases. Expel evil spirits, rise. Instantly, the Jiangshi froze and collapsed, returning to lifeless corpses. Lieu Shi felt her heart pounding out of her chest. Lieu Shi. An old man with white beard and hair stood before her, smiling kindly. Lieu Shi replied, "Yes, you have the body of a yin guardian, a rare occurrence in 100 years. Lieu Shi didn't understand his words, but bowed. "Thank you for saving me. If not for you, these Jiangshi would have killed me. You can see me, that means we have fate. You are the bride of young Master Nam, yes?" The old man didn't ask, it was a statement. Lieu Shi answered, "Yes, I married young Master Nam this morning. But, who are you, Master?" The old man stroked his beard, smiling. "Not bad, you've opened the yin eye. Call me ancestor." Lieu Shi was shocked. She knew of the yin eye, the third eye that let the living see the dead. Could this old man be the ancestor of the Hu family? Could she truly see spirits? "You have a rare body, it attracts yin energy easily. It's nearly 3 a.m., return now." The ancestor approached, lightly touching his index finger to her forehead. Before Lieu Shi could reply, he vanished like a gust of wind. Lieu Shi shivered, staring at the corpse that had nearly killed her. It looked familiar. It was one of the villagers who had attended the banquet that morning. Could the rumors about the Hus preserving corpses to cultivate Jiangshi be true? And the large house the boy had led her to, the sign above the door read, "Hu family brothel." So the boy was not human. She remembered he had called her name, and she had answered. At night, if a stranger calls your name, never reply or turn around. It means they want your soul. Lieu Shi felt foolish. Thankfully, the ancestor had saved her. Otherwise, she would be dead by now. Tonight was a moonless, starless night, pitch-black skies. Lieu Shi didn't know how she returned, as if someone had guided her. She quietly opened her door and slipped inside, careful not to make a sound. The servants mustn't know she had left at night, Madam who would kill her. After closing the door, Lieu Shi finally exhaled in relief. But before she could lie down, a heavy force pressed her down. A large hand gripped her slender neck, growling. "Where did you go? Dare you escape your duty to me? Young master, the eldest." Lieu Shi hadn't even finished speaking before she was pushed onto the bed. His body was too cold. Lieu Shi saw a red glow behind his back. He was tall and heavy, crushing her breathlessly, and the old wounds on her back flared with unbearable pain. She pleaded desperately. Master, please let me go. I'm not well today." Lieu Shi knew as a wife, sleeping with him was her duty. Seeing his displeasure, she begged further. Master, could you wait a few more days? I'm on my period. It's inconvenient. Since childhood, Lieu Shi had never been this intimate with any man. Having to speak of such a delicate matter made her face burn red. She thought this would dissuade him, but she had forgotten. Hunam was no longer human. He sneered. That's your problem. My mother bought you to be my plaything. You have no right to refuse. This morning you ruined my mood. Tonight, I'll take it all back with interest. As he spoke, he roughly tore her dress apart. Seeing her naked, he grew even more delighted. So beautiful. Serve me well. Though he had a handsome face, his expression was cruel. His icy lips swept over her body, deliberately making lewd sounds. Lieu Shi, your flesh tastes so sweet. Helpless, Lieu Shi had no strength to resist. She trembled in terror. Who? Master, could you be gentler? I'm hurting. Seeing her cry, Hunam only grew crueler. He gripped her chin, smirking. Seeing you like this makes me want to hurt you even more. He had only meant to tease her. He knew she was on her period, but now she felt too enticing. He decided to go all the way. You lit the fire, you'd better put it out. Seeing his blood-red eyes, Lieu Shi panicked and tried to wriggle away. Just as he reached for her thigh, an unseen force threw him off the bed. The hand that had touched Lieu Shi's skin burst into flames. You. Lieu Shi almost laughed out loud at Hunam's charred body, though she didn't understand why he was burning. She pulled the blanket over herself and replied, I don't know either. Maybe today isn't a good day for you to stay. Please go back to your room tonight. Hunam was furious, utterly humiliated. Remember this, you? Lieu Shi jolted awake. It had been a nightmare. She grabbed the blanket, curling in the corner of the bed. The coldness felt real, lingering on her skin. On her chest and thighs, the red marks he left seemed visible. Lieu Shi wept silently, tears soaking the blanket. The rooster crowed for the third watch. Lieu Shi dared not close her eyes, forcing herself to stay awake until dawn. The next morning, Chan entered the room to help Lieu Shi prepare, asking anxiously, You didn't sleep at all last night, did you? Hick, let me powder your face. It'll make you look fresher. You'll have to present tea to madam soon. Looking in the bronze mirror, Lieu Shi panicked. Her eyes were swollen, her face gaunt. She nodded, asking Chan to bring some plain rice porridge. When Lieu Shi arrived at the main hall, no one else was there yet. She waited another 3 hours before madam, who finally arrived, coldly ordering, Serve the tea. Yes, mother, please take this tea. Lieu Shi took the hot tea from a servant beside madam, who bowed slightly and respectfully offered it to her. Madam, who snorted, You think I'll swallow this? Tell me, what did you do last night that made young Master Nam leave? Lieu Shi hadn't expected madam, who to know so quickly. She hurriedly replied, I did nothing. You dare lie. So the beating yesterday didn't teach you. She spat. Stay there. The hot tea nearly slipped from Lieu Shi's hands. On her first day as a daughter-in-law, she dared not break anything, forcing herself to hold it. Mother, good morning. What upset you so early? Hiji entered from the doorway, her face radiant and fresh, smiling like a blooming morning flower, instantly soothing. Mother, it was all my fault. I didn't mean to wake up late. She shyly covered her face, and madam, who laughed. Why would I be angry at you? I only wish you two would get along. A harmonious couple makes a mother happy. Lieu Shi stood aside, feeling like an outcast. Hiji arrived late, yet madam, who scolded no one, because she was the daughter of an official. Lieu Shi had arrived early, yet was treated like trash. Lieu Shi felt numb, the burn on her hand insignificant compared to the sorrow in her heart. Sister-in-law, did you hear me? Yes, I'm here. Startled, Lieu Shi answered. Hiji smiled brightly. I asked mother to forgive you. Go serve her tea before it's late. Like a puppet, Lieu Shi obeyed. Madam, who took the tea, her face still cold. Before she could hand Lieu Shi the red envelope, a servant whispered something in her ear. Madam, who exploded, hurling the teacup to the ground. She pointed at Lieu Shi, roaring. Tell me, who did you meet last night? The hot tea splashed onto Lieu Shi's hand, though it had cooled slightly. Seeing madam, whose demonic fury, Lieu Shi nearly confessed everything about meeting the ancestor. But a voice echoed in her ear. Don't say you met me last night. Never reveal you can see spirits. If they learn you have the Een eye, they'll turn you into a Jiangshi, your soul trapped forever in the Hu mansion. The voice was the ancestor's. Lieu Shi immediately knelt, clasping her hands in prayer. Mercy, mother. Last night, A ghost called my soul. I followed it in a daze and fainted. When I woke, I remembered nothing. Please believe me. Is that so? Madam Hu waved, and the steward stepped forward to inspect Lieu Shi head to toe. Lieu Shi shivered under his probing eyes, her skin crawling. She bears the Fa Vong seal, a charm protecting the living from spirits, the steward concluded. So I underestimated you. Madam Hu's sharp eyes gleamed, then she suddenly smiled mysteriously. Very well. I'll give you a chance to redeem yourself. Go to Bay Mountain Market and buy me 9 bundles of spirit money, a wooden horse, 7 red silk rolls, a toad, and a pouch of gold and silver. Remember, you must choose and carry them alone. No one accompanies you. Lieu Shi felt pardoned, bowing deeply before rushing out. Staying a second longer was unbearable. Seeing Chan's anxious expression, she asked, "What's wrong?" "Mistress, the Bay Mountain Market is also called the Yang Market. It only opens from midnight to 3 a.m. After that, it vanishes. They say the living and dead mix there. If you accidentally buy something from a ghost." Lieu Shi sighed quietly. She had been foolish to think Madam Hu would easily let her go. Seeing Lieu Shi's pale face, Chan tried to comfort her. "They're just rumors, mistress. Don't worry. Maybe they spread these stories to attract curious people to the market." Thank you. I understand. Hee, let me help you back to your room first. Then I'll go to the kitchen and bring you some breakfast. You haven't eaten anything since morning." Lieu Shi nodded and followed Chan. Now she needed to return to her room and prepare for the night market. Along the way, she still received whispers and scornful glances like yesterday. "If you keep bad-mouthing mistress, just wait until young master finds out. See if he'll rip your eyes out and choke you." Chan shouted defiantly. The servants, somewhat fearful, no longer dared to insult Lieu Shi openly. Lieu Shi felt a pang in her heart. She was lucky enough that young master didn't harm her. How could she ever hope he would protect her? Before long, it was already pitch black outside. To complete the shopping Madam Hu assigned, Lieu Shi left early. She set out at 9 o'clock. Before leaving the mansion, Madam Hu's servant, Bai, gave her an oil lamp, 10 silver ingots, and 3 bundles of ghost money, warning her. "Madam has already made it clear. If you don't buy everything, you'll have to wait until the next market. And if you dare to escape, you know the consequences." I know. I'll definitely buy everything to redeem myself with Madam." "Good. Then go. Just follow this road north, cross a river, then a small forest, and you'll arrive." Lieu Shi memorized her instructions, holding a small bag, determined to move forward. She must survive at all costs. After half an hour, she reached the river Bai had described. The river wasn't wide, about 30 paces across, but the water rushed violently. Strangely, there was no bridge. As Lieu Shi hesitated, a small ferry slowly approached from the distance. An old man's voice called out, "Crossing the river, young lady?" Feeling saved, Lieu Shi eagerly responded, "Yes, please take me across. Come on board." Lieu Shi lifted her skirt, waded to the edge, and climbed onto the boat. The tiny boat nearly capsized under the weight of 2 people. Lieu Shi almost fell backward before finally steadying herself. The ferryman was about 70 years old, wrinkled, frail, wearing a ragged, torn straw hat. He asked, "Ready?" "Yes, please go." It was so cold on the river. Despite wearing 2 layers, Lieu Shi shivered violently. Suddenly, she noticed a fish swimming beneath the surface. Its beauty fascinated her. She leaned down, curious to touch it. "Don't put your hand in the water. You want to lose it?" Startled, Lieu Shi quickly withdrew her hand. The fish, realizing it had failed to trick her, bared razor-sharp teeth and hissed, calling others. Soon, the boat was surrounded by fish leaping hungrily. Fortunately, the old man quickly took some meat scraps from a black pouch and tossed them into the river. The fish swarmed to eat, temporarily leaving the boat alone. "You saw that." The old man was clearly used to this routine. He explained, "These are ghost fish. Long ago, thousands of Song invaders were buried here. Their lingering souls possess the catfish, turning them into ghost fish. Every time I pass, I must throw them meat or they won't let me through." The more Lieu Shi listened, the more frightened she became. She moved further into the boat. Those weren't just meat scraps, they were human flesh. The ghost fish still glared hungrily, but no longer attacked, silently following the boat, waiting for someone to fall. "Do you have money?" Thinking the old man meant a ferry fee, Lieu Shi took out a silver ingot and handed it to him. "Here for you." The old man glanced and shook his head. Not this kind. Only then did Lieu Shi remember. She quickly took out a bundle of ghost money and asked, "This kind?" The old man accepted it and immediately threw it into the river. "Every year, people die here. Those who travel must leave some offerings, or—" He deliberately paused, then smirked. "Or you'll join them below." Lieu Shi dared not ask another word. She told herself, better to know less. As they neared the other side, the old man spoke again. "You're going to the Yang market, aren't you?" Lieu Shi honestly replied. "Yes. You seem lucky. Let me give you some advice. When you pass through the forest ahead, keep walking straight. No matter who calls you, never answer or turn back. Every 10 steps, scatter a ghost coin until you leave the forest. That's all I can tell you. What happens at the Yang market depends on your own wit. Be careful. Think carefully before acting, or you'll bring disaster upon yourself." Lieu Shi listened attentively, memorizing every word. She bowed. "Thank you for your kindness, elder. No need. Your time hasn't come yet. I'm just helping because I can. Go quickly, I'll wait for you here. The ferry fare will be collected on your return." When landing, Lieu Shi no longer risked wading into the water. She waited until the boat touched land before stepping off carefully. Waving goodbye to the old man, she headed toward the forest ahead. The forest was thick with fog, making Lieu Shi hesitate. But if she turned back now, Madame Hu would never forgive her. And if she fled, her mother would suffer. She steeled herself, she must press on. She remembered the old man's instructions, moving swiftly through the forest, determined to get through as quickly as possible, scattering a ghost coin every 10 steps. The mist gradually parted, creating a path for her. Occasionally, Lieu Shi heard children crying behind her, voices calling her name, even someone tapping her shoulder. Terrified, she walked and trembled but dared not turn back. Finally, she exited the forest. A small path appeared. Lieu Shi walked a bit farther and reached the gate of the Yang market. From a distance, it looked like an ordinary market, just older, more ancient. She had expected it to be empty at night, but instead, it was crowded with people coming and going. Only, most of them were not alive. Occasionally, a living soul passed by. Lieu Shi could distinguish the living from the dead by the faint glow behind their backs. Those with a dim grayish light and a hazy, wavering presence, like ripples on water disturbed by a stone, were spirits. The living had no such glow, and they carried oil lamps to guide their way back to the human world, preventing the dead from pulling them down. The Yang market sold nearly everything imaginable. Lieu Shi wandered around, gradually understanding its rules. Sellers could be either living or dead. If the seller was alive, they sold items normally, silver or coins for the living and direct burning for the dead. A large bronze cauldron beside them was used to burn names written on ghost money, allowing the dead to receive the goods. The exact payment method was left to private agreement. If the seller was a spirit, the buyer had to pay with merit, a kind of spiritual credit earned through good deeds. In return, the dead might offer something rare, a prophetic dream, a blessing for business or exams or other mystical favors. The first item Lieu Shi bought was spirit money. Madame Hu had asked for 9 bundles. The seller was a middle-aged woman still alive. She gestured with her index finger, and Lieu Shi understood, handing over a silver ingot. The second item was red silk. The seller was a young woman still living. When Lieu Shi offered silver, the girl shook her head. When offered ghost money, she refused even more firmly. Lieu Shi asked, "What can I exchange for this?" The girl finally looked up, and Lieu Shi nearly stumbled backward. Half of her face was scarred by burns and knife wounds, terrifying to behold. "A lock of your hair will do." Without hesitation, the girl handed Lieu Shi a pair of scissors. With no choice, Lieu Shi set her bag down, untied her bun, and cut a strand. "Is this enough?" The girl nodded, handing over 7 square red silk pieces, each the size of a palm. She added, "Don't get this silk wet, it'll ruin it." Cutting her hair felt strange, but Lieu Shi had no time to dwell. She hurried to the next stall. The third and fourth items, wooden horse and silver coins, were sold by an elderly woman still alive. Hearing Lieu Shi's request, the old woman gave her a strange look. "You're buying silver coins and a wooden horse for real?" Lieu Shi replied, "Yes, I'm buying them for someone else." Seeing Lieu Shi's innocent expression, the old woman added, "Young girl, let me advise you, while you're still young, accumulate merit. Don't do evil or help evil people. When the time comes, you'll regret it too late." Confused, Lieu Shi asked, "What are these items used for?" The old woman waved her off. "If I tell you, I'll interfere with others' affairs. They'll never forgive me. Just take the coins and horse, no payment needed. Seeing the old woman's resolve, Lieu Shi thanked her and moved on. The final item was the tame Thursday, a mythical toad. No matter how many times she circled the market, she couldn't find it. Could it be the living didn't sell it, forcing her to buy from the dead? Lieu Shi took a risk and stopped at a stall run by a young male spirit. She asked, "Sir, do you have a tame Thursday for sale?" The spirit, surprised Lieu Shi could see him, replied, "Most buyers here are experienced sorcerers or mediums. You're the first young girl I've seen." "Interesting." He asked, "You can see me?" "Of course. How else could we talk?" I do have a tame Thursday." "Then sell it to me." Seeing Lieu Shi's beauty, the spirit teased, "You can't afford it, it's too expensive. But why not marry me instead? I'm easygoing. I'll bless you, and you can still marry a living man. Just let me visit now and then, and when you die, you'll be my wife forever." Angry at his mockery, Lieu Shi pretended to leave. "If you won't sell, I'll go elsewhere. The market won't close for you alone. I will sell it. How much merit do you want?" The spirit asked, "Tell me, why do you need this tame Thursday?" "Here, it costs 10 years of merit, which equals 30 years of your current lifespan." Hearing the price, Lieu Shi bargained. "No discount." The spirit shook his head. "No." Seeing her desperation, he added, "Or, you can fulfill my last wish from life." Relieved, Lieu Shi agreed. "Fine. What is it?" The spirit answered, "Write your birth date on this paper. I'll send you a dream explaining the rest. As for the tame Thursday, catch a live toad by the river on your way back. I'll handle the rest." "Oh no. Hurry. Get out of here before the ghostly guards patrol. If they find you here without a pass, they'll capture your soul." At that moment, the sound of galloping horses echoed from afar. The spirit urged, "Run. I'll delay them a bit. Remember, take the same path back. As long as you reach the ferry, you'll cross the boundary of the spirit world. They can't follow." Lieu Shi nodded, grabbed her bag, and ran toward the market gate. By the fourth watch, the market had begun to empty. Fewer people remained. Lieu Shi ran straight to the forest's edge without stopping. The fog had begun to lift. She took a risk, no longer scattering ghost coins, and sped ahead. She had covered about half the forest when the sound of galloping horses and shouting reached her from afar. "Living soul, stop at once and face judgment." Lieu Shi ran faster, refusing to look back. The hoofbeats grew closer. Her legs could not match the speed of horses, and her recent wounds slowed her further. The riders, clad in iron armor and tall helmets, seemed to fly like wind. In moments, they nearly surrounded her. Just as she neared the riverbank, Lieu Shi tripped on a small stone and fell hard. The riders dismounted, their faces fierce. 4 of them spread a ghost-binding net, preparing to trap her. Suddenly, the sound of oars and the old ferryman's voice rang out. "Please, honored officials, do not mistake her for a criminal." The leader, recognizing the ferryman, raised a hand to halt his men. His tone was sharp. "You are a living man. This is spirit territory. Do not interfere or share her fate." The old man anchored his boat, clasped his hands, and begged. "Honored officials, this is my niece. She's visiting from Tang Long for a few days. I asked her to buy things from the market. Please show mercy." The ferryman had rowed here for over 30 years. He had some standing with the leader. After a pause, the leader ordered his men to retract the net. "This time, I'll let her go. But next time, follow the rules." Only after the soldiers vanished did the old man help Lieu Shi up. "Are you hurt?" Lieu Shi shook her head. "No, I'm fine." He explained. That was the soul net, used to capture and imprison spirits. Even demons caught in at risk having their soul shattered. "Come, let's board before time runs out." Lieu Shi finally exhaled once on the boat. She had nearly been caught. "Didn't your family warn you to return before the 3rd watch?" Lieu Shi forced a reply. "Yes, it was my fault, I forgot." The old man resumed scattering meat scraps into the water. This time, Lieu Shi caught the sharp scent of blood. A terrifying thought struck her. Is this human flesh?" The ferryman calmly tossed meat into the river. "Yes, my own." Afraid, Lieu Shi now understood his frailty. His body was little more than skin and bones. She shook her head. "I'm not afraid. You saved me, I'm grateful." "But why?" The old man lifted his robe, revealing red-boned legs, flesh and bone exposed. Lieu Shi nearly screamed, covering her mouth in horror. "A girl, Everything in life has cause and consequence. In my youth, I wronged the river god. He took my wife's soul, trapping her in the deepest waters, tormented endlessly by spirits. Compared to that, this pain is nothing. You row here to atone to the river god? Yes. I must complete 1,000 free crossings, living or dead. You were my 999th. The old man smiled, a rare, bittersweet smile. My wife will finally be reborn. I can take her across. Moved to tears, Lieu Shi whispered. You two are so strong. I admire you deeply. The old man, having shared his burden, said nothing more. Lieu Shi reached the shore, heart tangled with sorrow and hope. She watched his boat fade into the distance, the sky already tinged with dawn's first light. She knelt, bowing deeply to the vanishing figure, silently wishing them a fated reunion in their next lives. Lieu Shi had walked only a few steps when she heard croaking frogs. She remembered she still needed a toad. She quickly waded to the riverbank and caught a large one. Surprisingly, it was effortless. Lieu Shi wondered, could today truly be my lucky day? On her way home, Lieu Shi felt lighter. She reached the mansion just as dawn broke. Madame, who had not yet risen. Madame Bai, the servant, stopped her at the door, suspicious. Did you buy everything Madame asked for? Lieu Shi held her bag tightly. Fearing trickery, she replied. Yes. I'll present them to Madame later to atone for my failure. Without waiting, she brushed past and returned to her room. Her body was still muddy and sweaty. She decided to bathe before facing Madame Hu. Mistress, you're back. Chan had waited at the door. Seeing Lieu Shi, she ran forward, crying. Mistress, I was so worried last night. Thank the heavens you survived. Lieu Shi smiled. Thank you. I'm fine. Prepare warm water and clean clothes for me. Yes. I'll go now. I left some hot buns in your room for you to eat while you wait. Opening her door, Lieu Shi felt like a year had passed in one night. She carefully placed the bag by her bed, ate the buns, and wondered how the spirit would deliver the tame Thursday. She decided to present the live toad to Madame Hu first. After breakfast and a bath, Lieu Shi prepared to meet Madame Hu. But a servant arrived with news. Madame has urgent business in the province. She'll return in a few days and send for you then. Lieu Shi felt relieved. She decided to wait before handing over the toad, just in case it changed somehow. Lieu Shi had what might be the best day of her life since birth. For once, she could do things a normal girl would do, sewing, weaving, and in the afternoon, she even asked Chan to find her some books to read. Whether it was her intelligence or something else, she could read the books fluently despite only learning basic characters from her mother. It was as if she had read them before. The evening was the most terrifying time for her. After the previous night's encounter, she had developed a deep fear of young Master Hu, his cruelty, his brutality, his lack of reason. But what must come, must come. Last night, Madame Hu had sent her out to buy things, giving her an excuse to avoid him. Tonight, there was no escape. Before sleeping, Lieu Shi dared not blow out the lamp. A little light would ease her fear. Around midnight, a heavy rain began. The pattering of raindrops from the eaves kept her awake, and the occasional thunder made her shiver. She remembered that ghosts feared lightning. If struck, their souls would be destroyed, leaving no chance of rebirth. Surely, he won't come tonight, she thought. But it wasn't until the second watch that she finally dozed off. Just as she drifted into sleep, someone grabbed her throat. The sensation felt real. Lieu Shi didn't know if she was dreaming or awake. Something wet was licking her face. Terrified, she tried to scream, but a rag was stuffed into her mouth. She could only whimper. Young Master, the eldest, why? Lieu Shi sensed something wrong. Behind the man was a red glow. Young Master, who never had that. Who dared sneak into her room. Shut up. The man, clearly angered, was about to slap her when a thunderclap lit the room. In the flash, Lieu Shi saw his face. He resembled young Master, who about 8 parts alike. Young Master, whose eyes were narrow and long, his brows like swords. This man's face was softer, but his eyes still held cruelty. Could this be the third young Master? Lieu Shi wasn't sure. She had never met him since arriving at the Hu household. But the Hu family was known for propriety. How could a brother-in-law assault his elder sister-in-law? Young Master. Third young Master? Lieu Shi stammered. Immediately, a slap struck her face. The man growled. Bitch, you don't even recognize your own husband? Have I spoiled you too much? Or are you secretly lusting after some man? He leaned in, sniffing her body, then recited a spell. His eyes turned blood red. I knew it. Mother sent you out to buy things, and you dared flirt with someone? I can smell another man's scent on you. Don't think a bath hides it from me." He struck her again, hard enough to knock the rag from her mouth. Lieu Shi shook her head, clasping her hands in desperation. "I swear to the heavens, I've been pure, I've never betrayed you. Please believe me." He sneered. "Believe you? Fine. Let me check if you're still untouched. If you've been taken, I'll strangle you with my own hands." Lieu Shi sobbed. "Please let me explain. I am your wife." Seeing her beauty and tears, the man suddenly softened. He brushed his sleeve and said, "My wife? Then why did you resist me before? Why did you conspire with others to harm me?" Lieu Shi paused, thinking. The previous night, young master who couldn't touch her due to the seal the ancestor had placed on her forehead. But tonight, he claimed to smell another man's scent. Could it be from the spirit who had helped her? Had his touch left a trace? I didn't know what happened that night. I was soul-called by a ghost, and when I woke, I was alone at the cemetery. And tonight's scent? I only spoke to a spirit when I bought the tame Thursday. I swear, I've never betrayed you. Please believe me." The man fell silent, considering her words. Then he sneered. "Fine. Whether true or not, you're just a bride my mother bought to appease me. Tonight, you'll sleep with me." Lieu Shi now understood. His spirit was bound by the seal on her forehead. He had borrowed the third young master's body, sneaking in during the storm when the servants were asleep. "Please, young master, I'm your wife. You can't treat me like this. You must also consider this household. This is the third young master's body. He has his own wife. Even if you are his soul, I cannot accept this. If you insist, I'd rather bite my tongue and die than suffer such shame." Lieu Shi clenched her fists, determined. Her defiance made the man hesitate. He asked, "Are you truly loyal to me? Even though I'm not human?" Hearing his voice soften, Lieu Shi knew she had reached him. She looked into his eyes. "As long as you believe me, as long as you accept me, I will stay with you forever." She felt his trembling hands. Was it emotion or something else? He said, "Remember your words tonight. I'll believe you just this once. You know what will happen if you betray me." Lieu Shi knew what he meant. She smiled nervously, cutting him off. "Don't worry. I'll never betray you. But using the third young master's body like this isn't right. Please return his body to him. If you want to meet me, just visit me in dreams like before. You talk too much." Outside, the rain had stopped. Lieu Shi coaxed him gently. "So, let me walk you out the door, yes? Please, show me a little kindness." He nodded, opened the door, and at that moment, torchlight flooded the corridor. At the front was Ji, no longer smiling but glaring with cold eyes. "There she is, elder sister-in-law. I warned you to be careful of this woman. You kept defending her, and now she dares seduce the third young master." Faced with the furious crowd, Lieu Shi lost her strength, stammering as she tried to explain. No, it's not him. This isn't the third young master. You think we're blind?" "Filthy slut," one of Ji's servants shouted, deliberately loud enough for all to hear. "Silence. Do you even know who I am?" Ji's maid Non poured oil on the fire. "Elder sister-in-law, look. The third young master's eyes are clouded by her. He's even pretending to be possessed by the eldest to protect her. Madam Bai, how should we punish her to give my lady a proper explanation?" Non avoided calling Lieu Shi elder sister-in-law, using lady to emphasize Ji's higher status. She pressured Madam Bai to punish Lieu Shi immediately. "Lieu Shi, it seems your life is short. Madam who had planned to let you live a few more days. But now you've dared too much. Restrain her, bind her and send her to the cemetery." As she spoke, Madam Bai smirked. "Perfect. The things you bought last night will come in handy on your body tonight." Lieu Shi was about to be seized by the servants when the young master suddenly kicked the men in the stomach. He glared furiously. "Any of you dare touch my wife?" He stormed toward Madam Bai, pointing at her face. "You're just a servant. How dare you bark orders at your master? Looks like I need to teach you all a lesson on who rules this house." His words were sharp, clear. Madam Bai's face flushed with humiliation. No one had dared yell at her like this in years. She had grown arrogant, protected by Madam whose favor. "You," he barked, pointing at a male servant. "4 months ago, you stole 2 baskets of chicken eggs and sold them at the East Market. And you secretly met a kitchen maid on the 16th of January this year." The servant, stunned by the accuracy, dropped to his knees, begging for mercy. "And you," he turned to a female servant. You've been skimming silk fabric every month and secretly selling it to the village tailor." The maid fell to the ground, sobbing apologies. The rest, fearing exposure, prostrated themselves. Everyone now believed. This was the eldest young master. Only he could know their hidden sins. Lieu Shi felt moved. His stubborn, arrogant nature had never been one to explain himself, yet he went out of his way to prove his loyalty to her. Clearly, he didn't want her to suffer a bad reputation. Any of you who opened your mouth recklessly today, remember to bite your tongue 7 times before speaking again. Watch yourselves. For years, the Hu family had only heard rumors about the eldest young master's spirit. Some said he wandered the mansion, bitter from dying unmarried. Others claimed he was murdered, his blood drained, his soul trapped. No one had ever seen him. Yet tonight, he had openly defended Lieu Shi. The servants, fickle as ever, scrambled to apologize. Yes, we know our fault now. Please, young master, forgive us. Each of you kneel 3 times to apologize to elder sister-in-law. And your pay is cut for 3 months. The servants bowed frantically, voices trembling. Yes, we know our mistake. Please, young master, elder sister-in-law, forgive us. Lieu Shi, who had no real grudge against them, said gently, I bear no ill will. Please rise. After settling the servants, he turned to Lieu Shi. I won't be able to visit you for a few days. Stay in your room until then. As soon as he finished, he collapsed unconscious. Lieu Shi almost rushed to help, but remembered this was the 3rd young master's body. She stayed still as Ji helped the young master away. Whether from fear of the eldest young master's power or not, Ji and Non said nothing more. The crowd dispersed quickly, leaving only Lieu Shi and Chan in the courtyard. Chan gushed. I told you, my mistress is so beautiful, of course the young master would protect her. Earlier, when he stood up for you, I felt like I was watching a hero save a beauty in a play. Lieu Shi knew Chan exaggerated, but her heart swelled with joy. It was the first time someone had defended her, and that someone was her husband. What a pride to feel. After all, a woman's worth was measured by her husband's love, alive or dead. As long as he gave her affection and warmth, she would stay by his side forever. The next day, Lieu Shi felt unusually at ease. She sewed, read, and occasionally wandered the mansion. The servants, now respectful, greeted her politely. That night, she checked her bag, surprise. The live toad had turned into gold. On its head were 2 fish facing each other, 3 legs remained, and in its mouth was a coin. She marveled at the transformation. How had the spirit made the toad gold? At least he kept his word. She only wondered why he hadn't sent her the dream about his last wish yet. 2 nights later, Madame Hu returned from the province and summoned Lieu Shi immediately. Remembering the young master's warning, she hesitated, but Madame Bai's order was hard to defy. She took her bag, 9 bundles of ghost money, a wooden horse, 7 red silk rolls, a golden toad, and a pouch of silver coins, and followed Madame Bai. This time, Madame Bai did not take her to the main hall, but to the abattoir. Memories of the Jiangshi haunted Lieu Shi. Ever since opening her Yin eye, she had grown more sensitive to Yin energy. Now a dense, resentful aura hung in the air, whispers of suffering ringing in her ears. Yet she saw no spirits. Had they been sealed elsewhere? Tonight, the abattoir was not as dark as before. Red candles lined the room. Lieu Shi hesitated at the door, uneasy. Madame Bai, seeing her pause, shoved her hard. Lieu Shi stumbled forward, face first into the floor. The stench of blood hit her nose. How many lives had been taken here? Lieu Shi wondered what secret the Hu family was hiding. Was it true they cultivated Jiangshi with corpses and snake venom, as the rumors said? Madame Bai had already taken her bag and handed it to Madame Hu. Seeing the items she needed, Madame Hu did not praise Lieu Shi, only shot her a cold glare, her eyes sharp as 1,000 swords. She grabbed the golden toad, slammed it to the ground, and laughed bitterly. You dare to hide things from me? I never expected you to have the Yin eye. Haha. So the girl who was supposed to be my pawn has outsmarted me. The girl I thought I could use to trap my own son's soul has become my own trap. Lieu Shi froze. Now she understood. She had searched every stall run by the living, but only the dead sold the tame Thursday. Madame Hu had planned this all along, to test if Lieu Shi could truly see spirits. A brilliant move, forcing her to hand over the evidence herself. Anyone who dares deceive me will pay dearly. Madame Hu hissed, reading Lieu Shi's thoughts. You're waiting for the eldest young master to save you? Useless. He's been severely injured from possessing the third young master's body for too long. Madame Hu pulled a needle from her sleeve, her wrinkled face twisting into a cruel smile. In that moment, Lieu Shi saw decades of cruelty etched into her face. Madame Hu looked decades older. Madame Hu slowly approached Lieu Shi, toying with her like a predator toying with its prey. She gripped Lieu Shi's chin. "This skin of yours, it's so soft, so young. I wonder how much pain you'll feel when I peel it off." Lieu Shi recoiled in terror, her back pressing against the wall. Could it be that Madame Hu truly meant to peel her face off? She recalled what Chan had once whispered, how the previous brides of the Hu family had died. Their skin had been stripped away entirely, their flesh and bones used to feed the Nai, witchcraft. Seeing Lieu Shi resist, Madame Hu grew even more enraged. She barked an order to Madame Bai and 2 male servants. "Hold her down." The cold needle pressed into Lieu Shi's left cheek, piercing through layers of flesh like it was testing her skin's thickness. A voice echoed in Lieu Shi's mind, faint, desperate, like the last straw of hope. "I will help you hide your eye. Hurry, tell her to test you." Grasping at the lifeline, Lieu Shi pleaded aloud. "Mother, please test me. I swear I don't have the eye." Madame Hu yanked the needle free, amused. "Still trying to fight? Fine. I'll play along." As Madame Bai understood the command, she hurried off. Lieu Shi rubbed her stinging cheek, trembling. She had nearly lost her face. Within moments, Madame Bai returned with a copper basin. "Madam, I've brought the teacot corpse water." Madame Hu nodded, pointing at the basin. "Wash your face in this and prove yourself." Madame Bai, still furious over the previous day's humiliation, how the eldest young master had defended Lieu Shi before the servants, added cruelly. "Rinse well. This teacot is made from the bones of the dead, laced with venomous Nai. If you truly have the eye, your eyes will go blind and bleed." Trembling, Lieu Shi accepted the basin. Though she didn't know who had spoken to her, she had no choice but to gamble. She bent forward and plunged her face into the teacot. Instantly, her skin burned as if fire licked her cheeks. 1,000, 10,000 ants seemed to gnaw at her face. Lieu Shi clutched her head, screaming in pain. "Ah! It hurts too much. Somebody help me. Somebody help." Madame Hu watched with cold indifference, waiting for the result. After the time it took to burn half an incense stick, the pain eased. Lieu Shi felt a cool presence soothing the venom from her face. She opened her eyes and saw a toad-like creature before her. Not a toad, but a tame Thursday. It had 3 legs like the one the spirit had given her, but its body was small, the size of a pinky, with golden edges on its white skin. It blinked at her, alive. "I told you I'd help," the same voice returned in her mind. Lieu Shi wondered, was this the same kind of tame Thursday the spirit had sold her? "Don't compare me to that trinket. I am a living tame Thursday, formed from the spiritual energy of the world, absorbing the essence of nature. That trinket was only a cursed charm to attract wealth or steal energy." Lieu Shi had no memory of meeting this tame Thursday before. Why had it chosen to help her? 3 years ago, I took the form of a beggar. You were the only one who gave me food and coins. I had urgent business then, couldn't follow you. When you entered the Yang market, I sensed your danger and followed you. When you were in peril, I saved you. That charm you gave Madame, who was laced with poison." Before Lieu Shi could respond, Madame Hu screamed. "Poison! Call Din Tang at once." Din Tang was the steward's name. Madame Bai, seeing the emergency, rushed to summon him. When Din Tang arrived, he found Madame Hu's body covered in black bruises. He quickly took a spell talisman from his robe and slapped it on her face. "Poison removal. Doc Fap now." Tiny worms writhed beneath Madame Hu's skin, some swelling as if trying to burst free. The more she screamed, the more violently the worms squirmed. Far worse than the pain Lieu Shi had endured. "Pain! Ah!" The worms seemed to grow more aggressive with each shriek. Din Tang quickly stuffed a cloth into her mouth and bound her body to a wooden pillar. "Heavenly Spirit, expel the worms." Sweat dripped from Din Tang's face, but the worms still refused to retreat. Only when he cut his own blood and drew a Shang-Si life-death spell did the creatures finally subside. Madame Hu, gasping like a drowning woman, glared at Lieu Shi with hatred. You dared harm me?" Lieu Shi quickly denied. "I never lied to you, mother. You see, I don't have the eye." Madame Hu now examined Lieu Shi's eyes. They were still clear, beautiful, not a drop of blood. She was no longer sure. Lieu Shi took the chance to explain. "The ghost money, wooden horse, red silk, silver coins, I bought them easily. Only the tame Thursday was hard to find. Just as the market closed, a young man sold me one. He told me to catch a live toad when I crossed the river, and he'd send the tame Thursday to me. Madame Hu's suspicion deepened. Had the spirit deliberately let Lieu Shi see him, just to sell her a poison charm? Even if Lieu Shi had been used, Madame Hu's rage didn't subside. She was about to punish Lieu Shi when Din Tang intervened. Madam, don't waste your anger. Lieu Shi is family now. Our priority is to capture that spirit. This poison worm is strange. I can only suppress it for now, not remove it. Madame Hu swallowed her fury, forcing a smile. Forgive me, my dear. I unfairly blamed you. I'll have the eldest young master compensate you. Lieu Shi knew the sudden kindness was only a trap. Madame Hu wanted her to lead them to the spirit who sold the tame Thursday. She played along, bowing. It was my fault, mother. I brought this disaster to you. Din Tang cut her off. Enough. We must go now. If we delay past the hour, we'll have to wait till tomorrow. I fear Madame won't survive that long. Lieu Shi nodded and followed Din Tang out. They rode horses this time, reaching the river in no time. The old ferryman was gone, replaced by another. Lieu Shi felt a pang of loss, missing the old man who had saved her before. The journey from the Hu mansion to the Yang market had taken an hour before. This time it was even faster. Lieu Shi led Din Tang to the stall where she had bought the tame Thursday, but the seller was gone. She searched the market 3 times, finding no trace of him, as if he had never existed. As she passed a stranger, a sharp blow struck her shoulder. Lieu Shi gasped, collapsing to the ground, clutching her chest. She fainted instantly. When she woke, the face before her was her own. A perfect double, staring back with the same eyes.